everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Annual Pass. This is the podcast where we talk about all things theme parks, rides, shows, attractions. If it happens in a theme park, it happens here on Annual Pass. I'm your host, Jack Pattillo, and of course, joining me as always is my lovely, talented, beautiful co-host, BK. Hi, Beaks!
Hello!
How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. What about you?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm excited. We got a fun show today. We had an interview today.
Yes.
We haven't had one of those in a while, so we'll get into that in just a second. But real quick, I want to remind you, make sure to follow us on all of our social media things. You can follow Annual Pass at annual_pass over on Twitter and on Instagram. We're also at YouTube, youtube.com/annual pass, and on TikTok, Annual Pass Pod over on TikTok. Lots of TikToks hitting.
Oh, yeah. We popping.
We're popping. Is that good?
It's good.
It's good. Okay, good. I'm glad that popping is good. I wasn't 100% sure on that. But I've been posting like news stuff and kind of recaps of episodes. It's been a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys have been checking it out. It's been good times. But also store.roosterteeth.com. Go pick up some Annual Pass merchandise. That really supports the show. That's probably the best way to support the show is by buying and picking up a shirt or a hat or a postcard
or a mini
sticker,
backpack.
a mini backpack that maybe you can throw on like a cat or something and let it walk around. I don't know if it'll fit on a cat. Maybe if you extended the straps, you could fit on a cat.
Try. I'll put it on my cat.
Okay, please do, and send photos of that. That'd be fantastic.
I will.
So anyway, we're gonna pretty much dive into it today. We've got a really, really cool interview with Blair Paysinger from Post 21. So they are a Black-owned business that actually had a store inside of Disneyland over at Downtown Disney, and I wanted to actually get them on the show and like talk to them about how their process and everything went for it. Real quick, from their website, let me explain what Post 21 is. Post 21 was created by a mother-daughter duo who for years wanted a comprehensive marketplace that focused on modern and design-forward products from Black-owned businesses. While the discovery process of some of their favorite products was always an exciting one, they felt strongly that there's no reason why these products are so consistently being discovered when they shouldn't be, or when they should be household names. Not shouldn't be, should be household names. So they said, let's create the place we want to shop. So awesome. That's so great.
I love that.
I love it. It's like, hey, we love this stuff. We want other people to know about this stuff. Let's make it happen. So Blair and her mother made this thing. And so without further ado, let's just jump into it because I don't want to keep Blair waiting. So here we go. Our interview with Blair Paysinger. And we have Blair Paysinger joining us right now. Blair, thank you so much for joining us here on Annual Pass.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. I'm very, very excited for this one. We actually wanted to talk to you a little while ago, but now I'm happy to have you on the show because there's a bunch of really, really cool things about the company you work with, Post 21, or the company you created, right?
Yes, correct.
That is so cool. First of all, if you want to explain sort of the, like how things started with Post 21 and exactly what your company represents.
Sure. So I was pregnant and my mom came to me and said, hey, I have this great idea. I want to start, I want to be able to shop exclusively from Black-owned businesses. That's how she was raised. That's kind of how I was raised, but it's a bit harder to do that, or it was harder to do that in kind of this new online kind of world that we live in. And so I was like, cool, girl, I'm pregnant. You got it. My mom, she works for Oracle. She has a whole job. She worked in tech. I was like, this is perfect little project for you. And then I went home and I just couldn't sleep. I realized like this was my passion. I had to do it. And then once she came up with the name, which I can explain kind of the history behind that in a second, I was like, oh, I couldn't sleep. We had to do it. And so I thought like, okay, I'm going to hire someone who will like build me a website. Like this will be easy. And then COVID hit. I had a baby. Like it was not easy. And so I just had to learn how to do every single, piece of a website, every single thing about a business. I was coming from like a graphic design background, but was a mom. And so like wasn't really work. Like, I just jumped in the deep end and had no idea. And so the name Post 21 is derived from Black Wall Street, which was a community in Tulsa, Oklahoma that was burned down. Mm-hmm. It was a massacre. There were some folks who were pretty upset about this thriving Black neighborhood that was completely sufficient, taking care of itself. They had their own Black doctors. They had schools. They had all the things they needed. And that was upsetting some folks. And so they were like I said, massacred. And the date was July 31st, 1921. So that's why we're post 21. We're kind of post what they were doing. And we're trying to do it in this new way that we kind of shop now. And so we were always set to launch May 1st. And so that was kind of what we were working towards because it's post the date of, the name. And, this is during COVID. This is during all the things. We're kind of head down focused. And then George Floyd happened. And I had no idea, honestly, because I was just so locked in. And once it was Friday, I want to say, I realized there's all kinds of things happening around us. Maybe we shouldn't do this. And I went to the protests on Saturday. I realized, we should continue. We want to be a part of the change we want to see. And that Monday was May 31st. And also just so happens to be the day the world decided to support Black business. And so kind of thing I thought was going to be an easy side business took off much quicker than I was prepared for. But it was just another sign that that was what I was supposed to be doing, me and my mom. And so, yeah, we're up and running.
Oh, that's
quickly.
so beautiful. I love that. So I'm with you. When I found out about your company, one, yes, we have to support Black businesses, but to hear your story, to come from a passion project to then kind of be, I don't want to say swept up because it doesn't really capture the intention that you had behind the original idea, but to kind of be propelled through the movement of that cultural kind of, I would say, awakening that happened during that time, I think is fascinating. And I love that you stuck through it because starting a business is not easy. And hearing that you had to do it all by yourself, girl, and you had a whole baby in your tummy, insane.
Insane. No one told me it was insane.
Oh my goodness. But I have to give you your flowers, please, because this is something that I feel like we need to see a lot more of. And I love that this is, again, tied to your message within your branding and the name Post 21. It is a very important cultural and historical moment. So to have that be a part of your core messaging and a part of the brand and really just motivate and give you that intention with everything you do, I don't need to really ask what you support. I don't need to question who is running this, what's going on here. I know when I see the name, I know. And it's educational. You are spreading to a whole audience right now that might not know anything about that. And I think that that's so important. Is a lot of our experience as Black women out here is we unfortunately are the educators. And, if we can do that without having to do heavy lifting, let me tell you, I will take that option in a heartbeat. So power to you. I guess my follow-up question would be, I mean, you're popping off. Things are starting to catch up here. How did you decide really what your store, what your business was going to bring out into the world? I mean, Black-owned business is very vague and open-ended. You could do anything here. What made you kind of hone in on what your products would be here? Was there some sort of specific inspiration?
Sure. So I essentially, once I started sourcing, wanted to find products that spoke to me and who I am. I think previously the kind of idea of a Black business was very one-sided, right? Very this is what it looks like. And that's great, but we are not monolithic, right? This is a whole thing that people are just realizing. There are other aesthetics within that, just like anyone else. And so I wanted the things that I like. And that's kind of just how I started. Instagram is obviously very easy to find brands, but then I didn't want to have to, I don't want to follow these little brands on Instagram. To me, that's not what it's for. I wanted them, in one place. It was easy to figure out okay, there's hundreds of candle businesses, right? But these are the ones I like. This is what I want my house to look like. These are the ones I want to buy. Boom. There's lots of pillows, right? But you know what I mean? We can't just group all Black business into, boop, they're over here. This is what they look like.
No, I love that you articulate that because there is kind of this, I guess, preconception of what Black business products look like, or that Black business is only for Black people, which is definitely not the case. Where
you can go to Target right now and they have a whole Black History Month section, right? Everything is colorful and has a specific look to it. And that is great, but that is for a specific consumer.
Yeah.
And with your products here, you have a lot of, I would say, diversity in what you have to offer. And again, you said it great, like aesthetic. There's different styles. Like I'm someone who likes, city pop. I love, very kawaii things. It doesn't have to be just tribal patterns and, very stereotypical things. So to have those options and be able to be like, hey, look, we're Black-owned business on the side, but we actually have really cool products and awesome selections. I think that's so smart and a really awesome strategy. So I love hearing that inspiration from you, focusing on what you liked as the forefront of it and not trying to be, like a trend chaser. You're setting the trend with your choices. It's so cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, Blair, I'm really curious. So the whole reason behind like having you on this podcast is because I was searching for Black-owned companies that worked with theme parks, and you guys were at the top of the list because you guys actually had a store out at Disneyland. It recently shut down, right? But I'm curious how that relationship got started, because it seems such an interesting thing for me. I've loved theme parks my whole life, but you're working on like this business within a theme park, and how did that come to be?
Yeah, so that story I wish was more interesting. They honestly, our site had been up for 6 months, and they emailed us saying, "Hi, we're interested in speaking with you."
Wow.
6 months?
And 6 months. 6 months. I'm just like, what are we doing? Figured it out. I don't know. Here's Disneyland. And my mom texts me like, "Hey, we got an email from," and I'm like, "Girl, you are wasting time. Respond to them." Yeah, they emailed us and said we're interested, and so we kind of got on a call with them and really explained to them that we are a small business. Like it's literally me and my mama, and they were great. They said, we understand. We will do everything we can to support you in that, and they absolutely did. Right after we talked to them, it was kind of when things started opening back up. So then we hadn't heard from them, which actually was great because we needed to kind of catch up to where that trajectory was about to take us. And then I want to say in October, they came back hey, we love you guys. We love what you pitched us. Can you be open by the holiday? Right. So that was October. We were open by Black Friday.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
All right. So a month and a half to get a store up and running in the heart of Disneyland. That's no pressure or anything, right?
I was going to say, you hadn't done any storefront work like that before. Did they help you? Did they have a team that kind of helped you get going? Or were they here's a space, populate it, make it work?
Yep. Yeah. I was actually surprised by, they were very helpful with contract and things we asked for on that end. But then with the actual build out, I was like, oh, so clearly I'm going to work with Disney Imagineering and they're going to make this so cute for me. And that part will be so easy. No. I was like, do you guys have a screwdriver? And they said no. They were just out, girl. And then it was so we added what they called appendages, or essentially a bookcase to either end of our cart. And we were like, okay, so we need the paint number to match the paint. They had no idea what the paint code was. And I'm like,
oh man, so
if it's not the exact color, what am I going to do?
Oh man, so it sounds like they were both great on one hand and maybe not so great on the other hand, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't want to say not so great, but it was just surprising that even the sign on top of the thing, I was like, okay, so what are the dimensions that it needs to be? No idea.
You would think big company Walt Disney would have construction details on lock with someone who's building all these rides all the time. Asking for paint or dimensions would be easy. They should have a spreadsheet for that.
Yeah, you figure they have a downtown Disney Bible where it's here's what everything looks like. Here's the consistency. But were there any restrictions? Was there anything that you wanted to do that they came back and were like, sorry, not that?
Yeah, there was lots of restrictions around, they try and keep what they call the stage, which is the actual, on Downtown Disney, very cohesive. Mm-hmm. So there was definitely restrictions. We had to, get things approved. It was a challenge for me to kind of mix my aesthetic with theirs, right? Our brand is very neutral, brown, earth tones. cart had to be yellow and green and like the font was red, and I was like, we got to figure this out. So I think we definitely worked around that. They wanted to make it work, and I think we definitely came to a great kind of middle ground.
That's so impressive. So what was it like? I mean, like when I think Disneyland, I think a certain kind of person who might go through there. I mean, maybe Disneyland's a little bit different because a lot more locals, but you know, I'm sort of, my home parks are all in Orlando. So what was it like dealing with, I mean, tourists coming through? I mean, was that something you guys were on, like, did you run into any kind of unexpected encounters or anything interesting with that?
Yeah, absolutely. That was a part of the kind of learning curve that we had to figure out. We obviously I'm from LA. This is my local Disneyland is Anaheim. So I had an idea of like, oh, this is what it looks like. But we definitely went and sat and kind of tried to figure out the demographic. They told us it was mostly locals, you know, and then but we sat there and we were like, okay, that person that's actually here with bags that's shopping is women. There's groups of women. This is kind of the age group. Cool. And then we had to because we just had a website, we had to figure out, okay, these are things that like people are traveling can take with them. These are things that like, these things are work online, but these things are going to work in an in-person kind of store. We also, one of the things we realized pretty quickly is that the consumer there is coming to Disneyland for Disney themed product, right?
Totally.
They're not coming to shop for things that you can get at your local mall, right? So that was something we had to like really hone in on that like we weren't necessarily prepared for. And then we had a lot of like feedback, like there's different, you know, everyone's not ready for a book that's titled B is for Black Girl. Everyone's not ready for, you know, a lot of representation. So, you know, we would get people walking up who were crying saying, oh my God, I've never seen anything like this. I love this. I'm so happy you're here. And then we would get people walk up and saying, what is like, why would you do that? Who were offended. So that was something else. We had to adjust to just dealing with in-person customers and then a mixed review. But I definitely took that to mean like, that's exactly why we are here, because if you're offended, like that's a you thing and not a me thing.
Talk to him.
Yeah. So that was a big adjustment.
So it was you and your mother. How many people actually worked the store? I mean, I'm hoping it wasn't just the you two. Did you have friends come in? You have some employees come in?
Yeah. So staffing was probably our biggest challenge. We live in LA. Anaheim is a 45-minute drive with no traffic. So to get we definitely launched with like friends and family working with us. Me and my mom were there a lot. The hours, this is another thing. Disneyland is open 365 days of the year. So like on Christmas Day, but then our store was open from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Wow.
Oh my
every
gosh.
day. Yeah. So that's a big ask to have someone like drive 45 minutes, stay till 11 p.m. and drive back 45 minutes. And then like just staffing in general during COVID was a whole thing. Like Starbucks was across from us. They were having trouble finding staff. So how am I going to find staff? And then to trust them like there without one of us being there, that's a whole thing. So staffing was the biggest thing. Yeah. But, you know, we figured it out. I don't know how, but we figured it out for a year.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine staffing is an issue for any small company, you know, like that thing where it goes from like, okay, we're the people who made this. Now we have to trust someone to come in and handle the stuff that has been our baby for all this time. Like that's got to be pretty terrifying. So
I was going to say, let alone in an amusement park in the Disneyland. Like, I don't know. I don't even know if I have cousins I would trust for that. So more power to you.
Oh, man.
The like minimum wage also went up during this time. So like, that's another thing. You have to pay for them. So yeah, it was a whole lot.
Wow. So you guys recently shut down your store at Disneyland. Are you guys looking to reopen like a brand new brick and mortar anywhere? Or are you going to stick to more online type sales?
So honestly, like it was a go for the last year. I think I want to kind of slow down and reassess, you know, like Disneyland was never on my like 5-year plan.
Definitely not on the bingo card.
Yeah, good for that. So I want to kind of take a beat and like figure out now where I want to take it. I don't see myself doing a brick and mortar like in the next year.
Okay.
It's, down the road, sure, but I think I learned a lot of lessons.
Man, that's amazing. Yeah, this it's so cool, and I'm so psyched to actually talk to a business owner. I have like the entrepreneur spirit inside of me, so hearing someone starting up a company and getting it running, and then landing in like one of the most populated places on the planet, like one of the, it's Disneyland, and like everyone knows Disneyland, like that's so cool, and it's such a cool experience. And what do you think is your biggest takeaway from actually being in that park and having a store in that park?
The biggest thing to me is that we are the first Black-owned Disney operating partner in any location anywhere.
Wow.
And I think that is something that's like shocking, but also...
Can you say it again a little louder for the people in back, please? Okay.
The first, girl.
Thank you. Oh, I love that.
Actually, we didn't even know that until like 2 days before we opened.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think that's definitely my biggest takeaway. Like, the fact that I don't have the entrepreneurial spirit, right? I just like jumped into the deep end, like I said, and within a year and a half, this is what I was able to accomplish. And so I feel like I can do anything and nobody can take that away from me.
That's incredible. Well, congratulations on all your success. And if anyone listening right now wants to go and check out your stuff, where would they go to?
Our website is post21shop.com. Our Instagram is at post21shop.
Beautiful. Awesome. Well, Blair, thank you so much for being a part of the show. This has been a fun, unique episode. I'm excited that we got to talk to you and kind of talk about your experiences. And I'm excited to go to the shop and pick up some stuff.
Oh, yeah. Listen, I'm about to buy all the things, okay? And everyone listening, buy all the things, all right?
Yes, please do.
Excellent. So post21shop.com, go check it out. And thank you so much, Blair, for being a part of Annual Pass.
Yes, thank you for having me, and enjoy your trip this weekend.
Thank you very much. And that was awesome. That was so cool. I love talking to people. Like, I love people who own their own business. Small business owners is so cool.
It's amazing. Like, Jack, this is very important to me. Again, as a Black female, it's like a double whammy. Okay,
Yeah.
so Black-owned business, and then a mother-daughter duo creating this business. First of all, I didn't even know you could make a business and be in Disney.
Yeah,
I didn't know that was possible.
That is wild. Yeah.
Well, I should have thought about it, but it just didn't make sense. It didn't click.
It's just, to me, like that idea of like opening up your email. It's like, oh, I've got an email from Disney. I'm like, what?
When the mouse calls, you answer. Okay.
And they did. That's so cool, and I'm so happy for them. And it sounds like they're in like a good place. It sounds like they're happy with what they're doing now, and so that is so very cool. Again, if you want to support Blair and Post 21, is post21shop.com. Go check it out. It's super cool. Follow them, all this stuff as well. But yeah, and special thanks again to Blair for coming out and being part of this. And I love it. It's great. It's so cool. I love talking to people about unique things, especially involving theme park type stuff.
Totally.
So very rad. But now this is the part of the episode where I ask you a question and you answer down in the comments below over at roosterteeth.com. And during our live streams, our next one will be sometime in March, we'll go through and we will pull down some of our favorite answers to the question, talk about them, and then you'll get an autographed theme park map from us. My question for you is, if you opened your own store at Disneyland, downtown Disney, in the Disney marketplace, anywhere Disney theme park related, what would you put in it? What would you be selling if you were at downtown Disney? Do you have an idea? What would you sell at downtown Disney?
Goofy movie only. Powerline store.
Exclusive.
Tevin Campbell the whole time you're in the store, and good vibes.
There you go. Just exclusively Goofy movie stuff.
Goof Troop.
I would do, if I was going to open up a shop, I would open a classic movie poster shop. Or it's like nothing but like vintage movie posters, you know. Like, when I say vintage, I mean like movie posters from like the 90s and stuff. Like
I love that.
You want a Jurassic Park poster? We got a Jurassic Park poster. Ooh. You know, you want a Goofy movie poster? Maybe we have a Goofy movie poster.
We better.
There you go. But let us know in the comments, what would be your shop? What would you open at downtown Disney and let people walk by and check out and pick up stuff? So I'm curious to see what you guys come up with. But that's going to do it for us today. Make sure to follow us on all of our social media. We are annual_pass over on Twitter and on Instagram. We are Annual Pass Pod on TikTok, and youtube.com/annualpass, where you can go to watch us live, see our vlogs, see our shorts, see all of that stuff over there, and that supports the show. Make sure to go to store.roosterteeth.com, pick up some merchandise. If you want to grab, or if you want to mail us something too, you can mail us something. We are Annual Pass, care of Rooster Teeth, 1901 East 51st Street, Austin, Texas, 78723. If you want to mail us a postcard or something, we love postcards, especially postcards. Yeah, please do so. That's great. Well, BK, do you feel like you learned anything today?
Yeah, starting your own business sounds pretty hard. I don't know if I have the cojones for it.
The gumption you can do. I believe in you. You can start your own business.
We'll see. I mean, I guess a brand is kind of a business.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, honestly, yeah, that's pretty much it. So
I'm kind of inspired now.
there you go. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for listening. We will see you next time. Have yourself a great day. Bye, everybody.
See ya.